Welcome to the discussion video on topic 11, inventories. So on the previous courses or subjects you had, you already have encountered accounting for inventories. So this intermediate accounting, we will dwell into some of the details of the accounting for inventories as part of the asset account. At the end of the module, we will be able to understand the meaning of inventories, the major classes of inventories, which by this time should an accounting student at a third year accounting student should be familiar to. Account for inventory transaction using periodic and perpetual inventory system. This is the same. Apply FIFO weighted moving average cost formula and specific identification methods. Explain the lower of cost and net realizable value basis of measurement. Kung mapapansin mo, these items already have been discussed during your cost accounting. Next, accounting for inventory method using the direct and the allowance method. So under the International Accounting Standard number 2, paragraph 6, it is defined yung inventories are as assets held for sale in an ordinary course of business in the process of production in the form of materials to be consumed in the production or in rendering services. Inventories encompass goods purchased and held for resale. It can be through manufacturing or through the merchandising operation. So the three major classifications: raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. Raw materials will be used in production. Work in process is used in the production but partially completed. Finished goods are completed goods, and these ones are the ones available for sale. The inventories encompass service provider, cost of service. So let us look at the classes of inventories. Yung trading concern, kapag manufacturing ka, kapag merchandising ka, you buy inventory and then you sell these inventories. Kapag manufacturing ka naman, you buy the raw materials, you convert it into finished goods available for sale. So what is significant in intermediate accounting with regard to the accounting for inventories is the accounting for the ownership of the inventory. Kasi dito na papasok, hindi na, on your cost accounting, you are given problems which require you to compute for your total goods available for sale, the cost to prepare the cost of production report, the total manufacturing cost is to be computed. But in intermediate accounting, you will be looking at more of whether an inventory will be classified as an inventory, whether the ownership has been transferred, at kapag in transit ang inventory, kanino yan, kaninong ownership yan. So basically, goods are included in inventory when received by the buyer and recorded sold by the seller. However, the passing of the title serves as the determinant in classifying inventory. So whenever the ownership has been transferred or passed, doon natin ma-identify kung sino talaga ang dapat mag-report ng inventory account na yun. So there are classifications. Let us look at the example. 1. The goods in transit, FOB destination and FOB shipping point. So there are conditions. Already have discussed this, I think, in the previous chapters, yung appreciation of what FOB destination is and what FOB shipping point is. Next, the goods out on consignment or mga consigned goods. Ano ba yan? Paano pag-account dyan? Kapag ikaw ay ang consigner at pag ikaw naman ang consignee. Next, the goods in the hands of a salesman or agent or conditional sales. Dapat ba yan ay part pa ng inventory mo or dapat ay hindi na? Next, the goods held by customers on approval or on trial. Dapat ba kapag yan ay on trial, is it part of your inventory or hindi na dapat? Dapat ba ini-expense na yung mga goods na ginagamit on trial? Yung mga nasa mga test, ganon. So those are the concepts that will be answered in the module and in this module and in the succeeding modules. Okay, let us read this passage. In relation to the concept of passing of title under FOB shipping point, legal title is passed to the buyer. Okay, alisin na lang natin itong is. Legal title passes to buyer upon shipment of goods wherein the seller should pay for the freight charge. On the other hand, the FOB destination legal title passes to the buyer at the point of destination wherein the buyer should pay for the freight charge. So what is the concept under FOB shipping point? Matatransfer lang yung ownership upon reaching the shipping point. Yung sinasabi niya dyan, legal title passes to the buyer upon shipment of goods. Yung seller, kung sino yung nagbenta, should pay for the freight charge. Kasi nga, from the time na yan ay nilabas sa iyong warehouse, being the seller, up to the point of the shipment, ay yan ay own mo pa, pag-aari mo pa, so therefore, the freight charge should be chargeable to you. Next, on the other hand, under FOB destination, legal title passes to the buyer at the point of destination wherein the buyer should pay for the freight charge. So, magkabaliktad naman sila under FOB destination. So, remember, kapag shipping point, the ownership, kapag FOB shipping point, the ownership during when the inventory is in transit rests on the seller. Kapag FOB destination naman, when the items are in transit, the legal title or the ownership is on the buyer. Okay, the concepts of freight collect and freight prepaid, these are freight terms na ginagamit to identify lang kung sino yung magbabayad ng freight charge. So kapag freight collect ka, the buyer actually paid the freight charge, while in freight prepaid, the seller actually paid the freight charge. So yun lang siya. Let's look at some of maritime shipping terms na ginagamit aside from the FOB shipping point and the freight collect, freight prepaid, and FOB destination. Meron tinatawag na FAS or the free alongside. What does it mean? The title passes to the buyer when the goods are in carrier's possession. So halimbawa, merong agent or merong carrier na magdadala ng items into the buyer. When the maritime shipping terms is free alongside, ibig sabihin, kapag nandun na sa carrier, kanino na ang ownership noong inventory, it will be on the buyer. Kaya sabi niya dyan, title passes to the buyer. Title passes to the buyer. In which, the buyer is responsible for the charges. So, meron pa yung CIF na tinatawag or the cost, insurance, and freight. The title passes to the buyer upon delivery of goods to the carrier in which the seller is responsible for the freight cost. So, what is the difference? Kanina, the buyer is responsible for the charges, while in this case, under CIF, the seller is responsible for the freight cost under the cost, insurance, and freight services. Parang sinasabi kasi dito kaya siya cost, insurance, and freight ay yung binayad ng the amount which has been the amount paid by the buyer includes the cost of the item, the insurance of the item, and the freight on the item. Kaya yung seller ang responsible on the freight or the delivery charge. X-ship. Title passes to the buyer when the goods are unloaded, in which seller should pay for the charges. X-ship. The title passes to the buyer when the goods are unloaded. So, kapag in-unload pa lang, in-unload yung mga items, the seller, the ownership is on the buyer na. And the seller will pay for the charges. So, these are maritime shipping terms na sometime you will be encountering. So, dapat familiar ka kung sino ba ang responsible for the shipping charges, kanino ba ang ownership, because there are problems which will require you to compute for the inventory at this particular period. So, very crucial kung doon ba sa period na yon ay nakanino na ang ownership. Kasi kung nakanino ang ownership, dapat nandoon ang reportorial the reportorial requirement for the inventory. Sino magre-report ng inventory in the financial statement? Kung sino yung may-ari at that time na sinasabi doon sa end ng period. Okay, next. Under intermediate accounting, this has been very vital, even in the CPA board exam, is the concept of the consigned goods. Ano ba itong consigned goods? Maybe some of you are familiar with the consignment agreement. The goods that are in the possession of the agent or the one who sells it is called consignee in behalf of the owner, which is the consigner. These goods are included in inventory at cost plus freight and handling charges. The consignee earns commission expense for the consigner when goods are sold and remitted to the consigner. So what is the basic logic of consignment? Ang basic logic lang ng consignment ay, halimbawa, ikaw ay isang store, meron kang mga items doon na binebenta na hindi mo siya pinroduce or hindi mo siya pag-aari talaga. Kumbaga, ay naki-display lang sa'yo. Yung items na yon, those are goods on consignment. Ibig sabihin, meron ka lang commission on that items. So, yun yung basic logic ng consignment. So, kung sino yung may-ari, ang tawag sa kanya ay consignor. Kung sino yung pinaglagakan o yung nakatanggap o yung makaka-receive ng komisyon, siya yung consignee naman. So, under the accounting for inventories, consigned goods are reported as inventory on the part of the consignor, because the consignor is the owner of the goods. So dapat yung consignor ang mag-report sa kanyang inventory. Hindi pwedeng i-report sa financial statement ng consignee yung mga consigned goods na yon as inventory. Okay, so dapat klaro yun sa'yo. Accounting for inventories, periodic and perpetual system. This has already been discussed for you for several times in your cost accounting. So there in your module, you will try to appreciate the comparison between the periodic and perpetual system as a reminder during your cost accounting times. So, ang pagkaiba lang naman talaga under the periodic and perpetual system is the use of the account titles. Under the periodic system, gumagamit ng purchases account, purchase return, whereas, under the perpetual system, diretso sa merchandise inventory ang lahat ng items related to inventory. And kapag nakapagbenta, nagre-recognize kaagad ng cost of goods sold na account title. Okay. The inventory shortage, this is for your reading, I think, because this is also part of some of the discussions under the cost accounting. Trade discount is the deduction from the list price to arrive at the amount that the buyer should pay and to encourage buyers to buy in bulk of goods. Kapag maramihan ang bentahan, merong trade discount na binibigay. Kapag naman ikaw ay mabilis magbayad, merong cash discount na binibigay sa'yo. Okay, the methods of recording the purchases would be the gross and the net method. This also discussed in your basic accounting. So under the gross method, you have to recognize the gross amounts of the purchased goods. Tingnan mo yung example. The purchases is at 100,000. While in the net method, you already have recognized yung discount na 2%. Kaya nga ang the net method gumagamit ng purchase discount loss. Because there is a tendency na yung ni-recognize mong discount on the using the net method ay hindi naman talaga na-avail ng client. So, magkakaroon ka ng account title na purchase discount loss. The cost of inventories, the cost of purchase, the cost of conversion, and the other costs. The cost of purchase includes the purchase price, the import duties, so yung lahat ng binayad mong related dun sa importation, the irrecoverable taxes na binayad mo related to the to the sale or to the purchase, the freight, the handling, and other costs directly attributable in purchasing the goods. The cost of conversion is your labor and your overhead. Other costs includes costs in bringing the inventory to its present condition. It may include costs incurred for special orders. So meron dyan yung exclusion in the determining of cost of inventories, the abnormal amounts, the storage cost, the administrative cost, and the distribution and selling costs. So later on, we will have a more in-depth analysis of some of these items because module 11 is an introduction on or a backgrounder on your inventory. So I think that ends the discussion on module 11 inventories. There are succeeding modules related to some of the details in the computation of inventories. So thank you.